This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla, create your own digital magazine. Hello and welcome to the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. Round 4 of the championship for the GTs, Supersports and Sport divisions, held on the tight and twisty circuit of Zolder. And this programme will bring you the highlights of both 1-hour races with crucial championship battles on a circuit renowned for killing your brakes. And we'll also take in the third round of the GT and Prototype Challenge powered by Hankook, also racing at the Belgian track. The circuit of Zolder is located in Belgium's north. It opened in 1963 and is still a popular racing venue. The 4-kilometre track boasts 3 chicanes, feared by many because they come after high-speed sections, so you need to brake hard, very hard. The second chicane is named after French-Canadian Gilles Villeneuve. He died in a misty, wet qualifying session for the 1982 Belgian Grand Prix in his Ferrari on this spot. Another feature is Sacrament Hill that follows the first chicane, named after the chapel that lies nearby within the circuit grounds. Very handy for drivers who want to offer a quick prayer for a good result, or those who might need to repent the odd sin. We'll start with the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook, and in the GT class, finally we see Bob Herber in JR Motorsport's BMW JR GTMR. After a long development period, the BMW makes its debut here in Zolder. With a 3-litre twin-turbo straight-six producing 550 horsepower, the car weighs 1,325 kilos and features a special Samsonus sequential gearbox. The bodywork has been developed by JR Motorsport, and KMP Drivetrain Solutions took care of the suspension. Equipped with Intrax shock absorbers, the BMW M3 JR GTMR was developed to take on the Porsche GT3 Cup cars and also JR Motorsport's own BMW M4 silhouettes. Unfortunately, minor braking issues in qualifying restricted Bob Herber's car to a 9th place start, but at the front with pole in GT for both races is one of those BMW M4 silhouettes, championship leaders Vard, Slice and Bas Schouten's car. It's the 5th time this season they've been on pole. That's little surprise then, but they claim an even faster time was possible. Qualifying went like clockwork again. I had a good clean lap, but I made a little mistake. Didn't think I'd done enough for pole. Team told me over the radio it was enough to top qualifying, but with a gap of over a second to the next car, it's a great start to our weekend. As ever, the BMWs will be battling against the powerful Porsche GT3 Cup cars. Roger Graals second in the points and on the grid in his Team Race Art machine. 1.1 seconds slower than Bas Scout, and the Porsches struggling a little on the short, twisty Zolder layout. 10th are the Supersport 1 pole sitters, championship leaders Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink.
Ja, Zolder is wel mijn circuit, dus
I really like Zolder, the track suits me well. This time with the BMW, and we're doing well. We took pole for both races, 2 great laps. On pole in the sport class are Belgians Chris Vogt and Bart van der Broek on their home track. Ready for the start of the first race with Edward Graals in 6th place, Dan Meyer in front, Roger Graals in front of him on the front row, poleman Bas Schouten on the left. Away we go, aggressive start from 9th on the grid, Bob Herber up the inside and Marcel van BERLO with Edward Graals. That's Dan Meyer in front, look for Herber on the left hand side, through he goes, round the outside 152, Jon de Wilde as well. Graals getting mugged in the first corner. Marcel van BERLO went by as well. Up to 4th place went Jos Janssen at the start. Bas Schouten, the race leader, on board, heading down to the first chicane, checking the mirrors. Whoa, big lock-up, cold tyres maybe. Survives the gravel trap, but will he get through? No, look in the mirrors. Roger Graals goes by, takes the lead of the race. Oh, and look in the mirror again. Lots of smoke starting to fill the car. That can't be good news.
De karterontluchtingsslang die was er afgeklapt, dus...
Crankcase breather hose came loose, says Bas. So in every corner, oil was spilling onto the exhaust, caused a lot of smoke, even a fire. By the time I got in, the fire had put itself out already, so the team fixed the hose and I was able to carry on after 2 or 3 minutes. Pole sitters down to 8th. Bob Herber, though, having a great debut in the brand new BMW in the GT class, up to 3rd. Roger Grauls holding the lead up to the pit stops, and after dropping out of race 2 at Spa, down to just 15 result seconds. But Koen Burkhardt has 0 result seconds after crashing out at Spa. Grauls ignores his mechanic telling him not to leave the pit lane, goes out too early, and that results in a drive-through penalty. Good news for Mark van der Aar and Koen Burkhardt. They move up into the lead after Grauls serves his drive-through and win by just 0.2 of a second from the Team Race Art driver. Leaving the pit lane a second too early cost Grauls the race. A shame. On my stopwatch, it was time to leave the pit lane. On the display, the counter was at 0 as I crossed the pit lane exit. I heard my mechanic shouting stop, but it was too late. Shame. Good job. Yesterday I wasn't here, so Mark had to do all the driving. I was at home because of personal reasons, so today was my first drive in the car after the crash at Spa. Quite exciting with Roger Grauls breathing down my neck, but Mark did an excellent first stint. Our lead was big enough to take it to the line and win it. Bob Herber took 3rd in the debut of the latest JR Motorsports BMW, 2 weeks after winning their class in the 12 Hours of Imola with an old M3. On board with Peter Schroyer, 2nd in Supersport 1. Away we go. Erik van der Munkhoff in front, shooting by 2:45. That's Benjamin Vandenberg. He moves up to 2nd place in Supersport 1. Right in front is the BMW Z4 GTR of Erik van der Munkhoff. 3.2 litre engine for him, for Vandenberg, and also for this BMW M3 that Schroyer shares with Marcel van der Maat. Looking to go through on the inside. Doesn't quite have the grip as he ran up the curbs. Vandenberg hanging on to 2nd place, challenging the leader through the Lucien Bianchi curve up to the first chicane. Trouble for Benjamin Vandenberg, broken left rear suspension, tyre rubbing against the bodywork, filling the car with smoke. 2nd DNF in a row. They won the 2nd race in Zolder last year. No luck in 2017 here though. There's always race 2, assuming they can sort out their problem and their dramas after race 1. Who knows, they might win again. No luck for Erik van der Munkhoff. Comfortable lead until he accidentally starts the pit stop timer on his steering wheel. Trying to switch it off, he hits the power switch. Enough for Peter Schroyer to take the lead, which he keeps up to the pit stops, handing over to Marcel van der Maat. They won the first race at Zolder last year. Things are looking good again. Their pace is good, 2nd fastest car on track. The fastest, Henry Zumbrink, has 30 result seconds to deal with during the pit stop. BS Racing, Schroyer and van der Maat have 0 result seconds, so all looking good for them. Less so for Costa Canaroglu, chasing Luc van Loon's BMW. Van Loon slowing dramatically into the chicane. Costa Canaroglu runs into him by mistake, damages the nose on the Ginetta. Van Loon will hang on to 3rd, Canaroglu in 4th. In the final lap of the 60-minute race, Henry Zumbrink closes the gap to Marcel van der Maat. Van der Maat struggling, differential coolant leaking onto the rear tyres, little grip, and Henry Zumbrink sneaks through to grab the lead, just 2 corners from the checkered flag.
Ja, hij maakte een klein foutje.
He made a tiny error, and that's not what you can afford in the last lap of the race. I got by him, we only had a few corners left. He went on the dirty part of the track, couldn't fight back. So unexpectedly, we were handed the lead on a plate. 4th place just off the podium for Costa Canaroglu, enough to leave him still in 2nd place in the championship race. In the sport class, Sander van der Slot and John van der Voort win their 2nd race of the season, 13.8 seconds ahead of Rob Nieman, 40 ahead of Chris Voet and Bart Vandenbroek.
Sander heeft me heel goede instructies gegeven.
Sander's been giving me great advice, so I felt obliged to put it into practice. Pushing my limits, it felt really good. I'm noticing a lot of improvements. Pace is getting better and better. They're joined on the podium by Supersport 2 winners Johan and Mark Vannerum with their BMW 235i Cup car. Race 2 pole sitters Vard Slice and starting driver Bas Scout, and they finished 12th overall, 8th in GT in race 1. Points to make up then. Second place, Roger Graals again for Team Raceart in the Porsche. Hadn't he made that mistake in the pits, he would have won race 1 and would have scored relatively more points under the new system. Race 1 winners, JR Motorsport drivers Koen Bogaerts and Mark van der Aar were just 500ths behind Graals in qualifying. And in fourth, Edward Graals, the second of the Team Raceart Porsches, his first season of racing after 4 years away. Field rolling off for the second race in Zolder. 1 hour plus 1 lap led by Bas Schouten. Fifth place on the grid with Marcel van BERLO. Mark van der Aar in front of him, the race 1 winner. Bas Schouten on pole in the queue in front as they come out of the final chicane. Pole position on the left, heading down to Eerste Linkse. 152 alongside Jon de Wilde. There's Edward Graals. Away we go for the second encounter. Rushing down to the first corner, Bas Schouten, the leader, up to second place. Mark van der Aar got in front of Roger Graals. Graals eased out wide, now he's looking to try and come back on the inside. Under attack from the white Porsche, Jon de Wilde had a much better run around the corner and through he goes up to third. The Graals brothers are fourth and fifth, Roger ahead of Edward. Look at Bob Herbert's BMW zigzagging around, dives by Edward Graals. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he does, and Graals loses another place as well. Marcel van BERLO went through for sixth place. Edward Graals down to seventh from fourth on the grid. Bas Schouten, the leader then, starting to pull away from fellow M4 Silhouette driver Mark van der Aar. Jon de Wilde, the white Porsche, in third. Roger Graals in fourth. Bob Herbert's white BMW in fifth. And this is Roger Graals right up the back of Jon de Wilde. Heading towards the end of lap 1, down towards the Jackie chicane. He's going to send it all the way down the insides. Set that up nice and early, and through he goes, back up to third place. The BMW M4 Silhouettes are first and second, with Bas Schouten pulling away fast. The dark car, Mark van der Aar, in second. Then the dark Porsche, Roger Graals, ahead of Jon de Wilde and Bob Herbert. Sixth position, Marcel van BERLO ahead of Edward Graals. Then the Supersport 1 leader, Robert Vandenberg. Down the inside comes GT driver Jos Janssen. Let's take a look at the start in Supersport 1. On board with Costa Canaroglu starting in sixth place. Erik van der Munkhoff again on pole position from Peter Schroyers. Robert Vandenberg making a great start in the BMW. Around the outside of us goes Ronald van Loon. Vandenberg gets around the nose of the pole sitter Erik van der Munkhoff in the Eerste Linkse. As Ronald van Loon gets eased out a little by Costa Canaroglu. The Ginetta driver checking both mirrors in the middle of the action there. And he picks up the spot, gets in front of Ronald van Loon, hangs on to a top 6 position. Van der Munkhoff not taking that lying down as they come down to the first chicane. With the Porsche trying to make its way through the group, Van der Munkhoff gets separated from Vandenberg's BMW. Looking back, there is the orange car. Peter Schroyers in fifth place. Oh, little bump there with the Seat of Dennis de Borst in fourth. Flashing the headlights. And here comes Ronald van Loon up the inside of Costa Canaroglu. Canaroglu jumps the chicane and just about stays there. Was it a case of 2 into 1, or did Canaroglu take an unfair advantage? Take a look again. Well, Van Loon has the line on the way in, and Costa Canaroglu had to cut the corner to stay in front. 3 different BMWs in the top 3. Robert Vandenberg in the 1 Series, the Z4 Erik van der Munkhoff, then the blue car of Michael Verhagen in third spot. Robert Vandenberg leads Supersport 1, but there's trouble in store. Stay with us. This program is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Welcome back to race 2 in Zolder. Bas Schouten leading in the BMW M4 Silhouette. He shares with Vard Slice from pole position ahead of Mark van der Aar and Roger Graals. Van der Aar with teammate Koen Burkhardt, the winners of the opening race by inches from Roger Graals, after a pit stop mistake by Graals cost him victory. Now he's intent on taking it back on the racetrack. All over the back of the BMW M4 Silhouette, and they have pulled away from John de Wilde in 4th place. Mark van der Aar, a little defensive. Roger Graals looking to try and find a way by on one of these high-speed approaches into the chicanes. Into the first chicane, he gets a good run through. Mark van der Aar in a little too deep, and over Sacrament Hill in the dry, it's safe to go the long way round the outside. He'll have the line for breaking into the Villeneuve chicane, and Roger Graals goes through into 2nd spot. So Mark van der Aar, the race 1 winner, down to 3rd. And he will have result seconds in this race to deal with. Looking further back, this is a battle for 4th. John de Wilde, Bob Herbert in the BMW, and Marcel van Berlo in the red, white and blue Porsche. Herbert desperate to try and find a way by the quick starting John de Wilde. On board in this brand new machine. Tried to debut it at the Imola 12 Hours. It didn't make the race. They had to use an older M3, but now with a top 3 finish in race 1, this is their full string race entry. This trio, the battle for 4th, easing away from Edward Graals in 7th, Jos Janssen a little lonely in 8th place in his Porsche. Bas Schouten pushing hard, maybe a little too hard, to try and build that advantage over Roger Graals as he leads the race. In the sport class, Rob Niemann's Clio is in front, Chris Vogt in the Peugeot in 2nd, Sandra van der Slot right behind in the Alfa 147 GTA. 2 turbocharged cars ahead, both 1.6 litre turbos. She's got a 2 litre normally aspirated engine. Classic twin cam Alfa under the bonnet of the 147. Chris Vogt just staying in front of the Peugeot RCZ, and Rob Niemann in that familiar yellow and orange Renault Clio not too far away either. Chris Vogt and Bart van den Broek in the Peugeot may be on their home track, but they don't seem to have the pace they need. In the RCZ, Sandra van der Slot sending it down the inside into the chicane, and through she goes. She'll cross the line in 2nd place, setting off after Rob Niemann, the sport class leader. Change for 4th place in sport class as Frank Bedoff in a Renault Clio goes by Hank Teppel's BMW Silhouette. Supersport 2 leader, the silver BMW M3 of Oliver Nachtgeboren, ahead of race 1 winner Mark van Rum, who shared with Johan van Rum in the 235i Cup car. Bas Schouten leading now, growing that advantage over Roger Graals. Graals in the Porsche in 2nd place, dropping away but still clear of race 1 winners Mark van der Aar and Koen Burkhardt. Edward Graals, Marcel van Berlo battling for 6 in GT. Ronald van Loon in front from Supersport 1. And there is Chris Vogt in the Sport Class Peugeot RCZ. Real multi-class racing in the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. Well, Marcel van Berlo got by the Peugeot with no dramas, so that opportunity went begging for Edward Graals. He'll hope that the traffic will offer a little bit more next time round. Maybe Ronald van Loon's BMW will hold up Van Berlo, his rival. On board with Edward Graals then. There's Sandra van der Slot, 2nd place, chasing down Rob Niemann. She gets eased a little wide by the Porsche, and here comes the other Porsche. Edward Graals deciding that he's not going to have a run around the outside of Marcel van Berlo up to Villeneuve. However, the Alfa has lost out in a big way to class leader Rob Niemann in Sport. Supersport 1, still the battle for the lead between the BMWs. Robert Vandenberg ahead of Erik van der Munkhoff. Marco Verhagen in 3rd. This is the battle for 4th place. Dennis de Boerst just ahead of Peter Schroyers. The Seat Leon Cup car just ahead of the M3. And Ronald van Loon with another Seat behind him. That's Teunis van der Grift. Costa Canaroglu is in 6th in front of them as van der Grift runs out very wide. Big moment for him. Triple 2, Ronald van Loon. Oh, before he too runs out wide. Oh, and Van der Grift, little bit of a nudge. Couldn't avoid him there, I think. Squeezes through. Now can Van Loon dare it down the inside? No, he doesn't. Ten Van Vliet goes by as well. Van Vliet in that BMW M3, so Ronald van Loon losing 2 spots there. There is Costa Canaroglu, 6th in Supersport 1, still lies 2nd in the championship. Circuit doesn't really play to the strengths of the Ginetta. Whoa, 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 whoa! Loses it on the grass under braking, just too far to the driver's right, through the gravel trap. Oh no, it's more than that. Looks like he's got a mechanical problem. I think he's pulling off. And it looks like it's game over for Costa Canaroglu. I rather fancy the middle pedal is doing nothing.
I was left without brakes, which was interesting. The good thing is it was on the chicane, so I could go straight and then up the hill and down the hill. And then, but yeah, it was unfortunate. The disc broke, basically just went, exploded. So that was it. Yeah.
Lead battle in the sport class, Rob Nieman's Renault Clio 1.6 turbo ahead of Sondra van der Slot in the 147 GTA Alpha 2-litre normally aspirated. Sondra van der Slot has carved her way through the field, got right up to Rob Nieman, but she can't seem to find a way by the Clio. Lots of smoke as he locks up into the chicane under pressure. She's all over the back of him now. Can she lever him offline? Problem though coming from behind. It's Bob Herbert's BMW. And the GT class car gets between the two tiddlers. And again, Sondra van der Slot losing out in traffic. That gap opened up. Huge lockup. Oh, massive moment for the Renault. Rob Nieman, right foot buried on the throttle, trying to steer his way out of it. If in doubt, power it out. That's the rule in front-wheel drive. Doesn't work for the rear drive cars, but somehow he clings on. She's all over the back of him again. Is she going to take a run? No. Early pit stop then, the only option for the Alpha drivers. Well, both out on an old set of tyres, says Sandra. Didn't make it easier for either of us. Had a hard time catching him. Also because of faster cars getting between us. They always split us up. Yesterday it was a lot easier. Today overtaking was quite hard from them. Hard to judge it right. I lost touch with the leader, but still very exciting. And that excitement will continue. Rob Nieman heading out barely in front of John van der Voort with equal pit stop penalties for the pair of them. In the Supersport 1 class, Robert Vandenberg held the lead up to the pit stops, wringing the neck of the 1 Series GTR. Brother Benjamin took over for the second stint, but it's not going according to plan.
Ja, was zeker hard werk. Ik was natuurlijk derde startpositie. En de start ging super
goed. Hard work, says Robert. I started third, had a good start, took the lead, built on it to the pit stops. Driver change was fine, no problems there, but there seems to be a problem now. Not sure what it is. Benjamin just came in, went straight back out again. No penalties on the screen at the moment. Maybe he outbraked himself at the chicane, don't know. It's a shame, but hopefully we can hang on to third place now. To do that, he's going to have to stay in front of MAAT in decline. The Seat Leon driver comes across a very wayward Vandenberg and picks him off with no dramas at all. Gravel all over the track there. Maybe that's what caused the problems with Benjamin trying to fight back. All over the curbs in the first chicane. Losing ground to Decline and DeBorst's Seat Leon. Over Sacrament Hill, down into the Villeneuve chicane. Oh, he's not stopping, and he hits the Seat right in the passenger door. That could be major drama. Vandenberg looks like he's got a shattered left front corner, and the Seat going very slowly as well. Well, huge drama. Look from behind. Vandenberg just can't stop, can he? Big impact. And that might be both of them out of the race. Sounds like the Seat is crippled and the BMW is out for sure. Oh, you probably know more than I. First time I went out for my stint, the brakes didn't work properly. Downhill, I was pumping to get some pressure in the pedal, but there was nobody home. I couldn't avoid hitting Martin Decline in the Seat. We both suffered damage. I think he's continued, so that's good news, but it's the end of our race. BOGAERTS and Vaard Slice ready to take over their BMWs. Mark van der Aar will bring Koen's car in third spot. Koen crashed hard at Spa trying to get by Dan Meyer for second. Dan Meyer dropped out of race 1, isn't in race 2. BOGAERTS won race 1 here at Zolder by the tiniest of margins, and now he'll again be in front of Roger Graals as they have 10 fewer result seconds. Pascalton brings the lead car in for its mandatory pit stop. A huge lead and just 15 result seconds. They're only 8th in race 1. That means life should be relatively easy for Vaard Slice. Quick check inside the engine bay. Make sure that breather hose hasn't come loose. There's no other dramas. And off goes Vaard Slice, determined to build that advantage and claim the victory that escaped them in race 1. Roger Graals still in the pit lane as the BMW heads off, and he's got result seconds to serve as well. Vaard Slice then leading after pit stops. Koen BOGAERTS in second place, Roger Graals third, and this the battle for fourth. John de Wilde and Bob Herber in the M3 JR GT-MR. Just as well it's a wide car with a name that long. Here's the battle for second position. Koen BOGAERTS inches in front of Roger Graals. And that's how they finished in race 1. Even closer than this. Like Vaard Slice, Roger Graals probably thinks this race owes him something as well. Leaving the pits too early by 3 seconds in his pit stop cost him a race 1 win. Now can he get ahead of Koen BOGAERTS and try and run down the other BMW M4 silhouette using the Porsche's speed advantage here at Zolder? Of course, he has first got to get by Koen BOGAERTS, who doesn't particularly want to let him by. Second place always better than third, but Graals with great traction off the corner. Here we go. He's going to have to go the long way round the outside. Can he get the overlap before the braking area? Not quite. He's right there. Wheel to wheel they go through the chicane, and Graals eases through into second place. Now perhaps he can set off after Vaard Slice. Koen BOGAERTS, a win in race 1, a podium in race 2, that'd be handy. In Supersport 1, Martin Heisman's Seat Leon ahead of Luc van Loon. That's 6th and 7th place. Heisman taking over from Teunis van der Grift, and Luc van Loon taking over from Father Ronald. Luc again all over the back of the Seat. Throws it up the inside, a little too much speed there. Temporarily into 6th, but back down to 7th. Great battle between the two cars, between both drivers in the lineups as well. Henk Teppel and Harold Wesselink's BMW silhouette in front. And here we go, Luc van Loon trying to box the Seat into Eerste the first corner. And he gets through this time for 6th position. Now can he get by the silhouette? They're going to go either side. 3 wide, neatly done. Daniel Collenby took over Michael Verhagen's light blue BMW. Ted van Vliet a lap behind in number 208. But a drive-through penalty for Collenby would be later rescinded by race control. Huge lockup behind Luc van Loon. Broken suspension. He'll skate into the pit lane. Will finish 7th and last in Supersport though. Marcel van BERLO and Edward Graals battling for 6th place in the GT class, both in 991 spec Porsche GT3 Cup cars. And that's going to make it extra hard for Edward Graals. The car's near identical. And then it comes down to the driver finding something extra. Tries to get a run on Graals there. Gets eased off onto the grass, out of the Jochen Rindt chicane, down to the Jackie Ick chicane. Battle for 2nd in the sport class is right in front. The Peugeot and the Alfa. They're going to have to thread the eye of the needle carefully here. Marcel van BERLO in front trying to make the gap. And listen. Oh, Graals being very cautious not to hit either of the cars in front of him as they battle their own particular fight. Marcel van BERLO resisting the pressure well. Can Edward Graals really turn the screw in the closing minutes of the race? Pile on the pressure. Trying to get a run again. Got eased onto the grass last time. Looking down the inside. Hasn't got an overlap into the Jackie chicane. He's going to have to sit that one out. Now try and get a run here. So a little bit of a wayward slide from Marcel van Berlo. Can Edward Graals take advantage of it? Van Berlo over the curbs on the exit. Yes, he didn't have good traction off the corner. Edward Graals getting closer. This will be the final lap as he run out of chances. Marcel van Berlo drifts out wide onto the curbs, loses traction, and through goes Edward Graals for 6th on the last lap. And exactly the same moment, heading to the checkered flag, Vaard Sluis claiming victory, nearly 45 seconds ahead of his closest rival. The 4th win of the season for Vaard Sluis and Bas Schouten. Roger Graals 3.2 seconds ahead of Koen Bogaerts in 2nd and 3rd. Sometimes tiny errors have major impacts, but nobody's really to blame. The guys in the team work so hard, they're under huge pressure to get everything ready in time. These things happen, they're part of racing, says Vaard Sluis. Luckily, we did damage limitation yesterday, set the fastest lap, moved up the order. Today, normally I'd have done the first stint, but we didn't want to mix things up, so Bas took the start, I did the finish. Bas had some fantastic lap times. Proud to say I got very close to his pace. He's much younger than me. He's very talented, but it's an uplifting race. I'm in the mood to do 24 hours of Zolder right now. The duo knew they needed a lot of points this weekend. They didn't get maximum points, but they scored strongly. Next round at Assen should favour the Porsches, and that might be good news for Roger Graals. For the moment though, Vaard Sluis and Bas Schouten lead the points. Koen Bogaerts, Mark van der Aar moving ahead of Bob Herber. A 2nd win at Zolder, a 4th of the season for Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink in Supersport 1. Michael Verhagen and Daniel Collenby got a drive-through penalty and weren't on the podium, but race control later corrected that, so they are given 2nd place ahead of De Borst and Martin de Klein. But no doubting the smiles on the top step. At the start, everything went okay. Well, reasonably okay. I lost a place, I got held up, and Robert Vandenberg went round me on the outside. And for the rest of my stint, I was really just chasing him. But I was determined not to take too many risks, because you never know what might happen in this game. Managed to bring the car in 2nd place, and then Henry did a great job, sealed the victory. Costa Canaroglu was 2nd after race 1, but he dropped out of the race and drops to 3rd in the points. Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein 2nd position, but Erik van der Munkhoff and Henry Zumbrink are now the championship leaders. In Supersport 2, Race 1 winner Johan van Roem lost control of the BMW 235i Cup car at the exit of Villeneuve and dropped a lap behind rival Oliver Natgeboren. Good news for Oliver because he ran into his own problems. He and a friend ran the car on their own. The winner, perhaps with the lowest budget in the field. I'm really happy with the race. Had a good pace at the beginning, had the lead of the class, but after a while 4th gear broke. Not much later 3rd gear went as well, so I had to really drop down the revs to shift down. It was pretty hard work. I was hoping the gearbox would stay in one piece. Temperature around 150 degrees, but it all worked out. It's my first podium, so apart from the gearbox problems, a good race and hot. After 2nd place in race 1 at Zolder, Rob NIEMAN took the lead in sport at the start of race 2 and nobody got close to him. He had the same amount of result seconds as his main rivals and finished 31 seconds ahead of championship leaders Chris Vogt and Park van der Broek, who struggled here at home.
Ja, hij is lekker. Hij was vanaf het begin ook goed.
Really good, said Rob NIEMAN. Immediately at the start of the race I took the lead. Special thanks to Sander van der Slot for forcing me to really push hard. Quite a challenge to keep her behind me, but I managed. The car was really excellent from start to finish. I had a scary moment where I lost control. I was all over the place. I'm sure they've shown it already. I'm looking forward to seeing what it looked like. It was a dramatic moment indeed. Chris Vogt and Park van der Broek still lead the championship from John van der Voort and Sander van der Slot, with Rob NIEMAN close behind in 3rd. Coming up, round 3 of the GT and Prototype Challenge at Zolder, and we have a first-time winner and more unexpected news. Stay with us. This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. It's round 3 of the GT and Prototype Challenge powered by Hankook at the Zolder Super Prix. Deldish Racing, the leaders in the CN Prototype class, thought that they'd have the beating of the LMP3 cars here on home soil, but they were outpaced near the end of qualifying. Sam de Jonge, former CN Championship winner, was back behind the wheel and starting race 1. Pole position though grabbed by Inter-Europol driver Kuba Schmitkowski. It's his 3rd pole of the season, but they've yet to win a race in the LMP3 class. He's joined at Zolder by 19-year-old rookie Christopher Freyspring, who also raced Lamborghini Super Trofeo. David Hauser 3rd, a 2.5 slower than Schmitkowski, but as his brother crashed here in testing, maybe he's taking it easier. 4th place are Spa winners Jean-Pierre LeQueuX and Jean-Marc Uberrecken, but they'll have an extra long pit stop because of the power advantage of their Ginetta. The Praga R1 in 5th, still aiming to finish the race. Oliver Freymut alongside in the Renault, and Koreuser sits on the SR3 class pole. On board with Jean-Pierre LeQueuX, 15 extra result seconds for the Ginetta duo. And Kuba Schmitkowski heads the field into the 60-minute race. David Hauser from row 2 kicking up the dust on the inside, desperate to try and take the lead, doesn't get through but does get by Sam de Jonge, and it's those two that'll battle for 2nd place right up to the pit stops. De Jonge's teammate Tim Jossen knows he'll have work on his hands to get by the LMP3s. Maybe it'll be Christopher Freyspring who's the weak link in the lead combo. Schmitkowski brings the Inter-Europol Ligier in the lead. His teammate racing the Super Trofeo this year and still in the Rotax Max Challenge. He's a karter as well. He knows the team haven't won this year. Lots of pressure on his shoulders then. But Kuba Schmitkowski has handed him a decent lead. Sam de Jonge comes in. All the leading cars have 30 result seconds, so they must have a perfect stop. And superb pit work by Deldish Racing puts Jossen back out in front of David Hauser, who can't get by the Norma. Victory for Christopher Freyspring. He didn't have too many problems then adjusting to the car.
In the beginning, yes, but was the 2nd day overall with this car, so I was a little bit nervous in the beginning, but in the end I was getting more calm and more confident with the car, and yeah, that's it.
The teenager wins on his LMP3 debut, and it's a maiden win for Inter-Europol. Joining them on the podium, Super GT winners Trans Am Euro Racing drivers Alexandre Berard and Charles Leclerc with the Hau Racing TA2. Tim Jossen finished 0.4 of a second ahead of David Hauser. The Norma a force to be reckoned with here at Zolder.
Here at
Zolder, the big fat LMP3 cars can't benefit from their horsepower advantage, said Tim. Looking at the lap times, we were pretty evenly matched. The only problem is we get the lap times in a different manner to them. Their speed's based on power, ours on cornering speed. And that's always hard to compete against. If you're in front of them, you're always defending. When you're behind, it's almost impossible to overtake them. Koreuser won SR3 with the Praga R1, 42 seconds ahead of Wim Juris with the Radical SR3L, and Dick Van Elk also in a Praga R1. Still some things we can improve on the car, says Oyser. I'm not happy with the speed of the downshift. Means you have to brake around 20 metres early to make sure you're in the right gear for the corner. Not quite sure if we can fix the problem today, says the veteran, but we're going to try anyway. Race 2 again run in dry conditions. Deldish Racing on pole position. A slightly better starting place as they have the run down the inside into Eerste Linkse. But it's a long run with 160 horsepower less than the LMP3 cars, as Sam de Jonge already discovered. Luke's going to start. Afraid of the LMP3 cars, we're much slower getting to the first corner when the lights go out. Under braking, we're about equal, so it's important to get in front immediately. Set some quick lap times, or it's going to be very hard to retake the lead. Again on the front row, this time second on the grid, into Europol Racing's Ligier. Christopher Drayspring taking the start, his first in LMP3, another first for the 19-year-old. David Hauser will again start third on the grid with the racing experienced Ligier JSP3. Jean-Pierre LEQUEUX fourth with the Prime Racing Ginetta G57 again. Those additional 15 seconds because their power advantage. Getting ready for the start with Jean-Pierre LEQUEUX. Pole sitter is Luc de Kock in the Open Norma. And as they get away, the LMP3's power advantage comes into play immediately. One in either mirror for Luc de Kock, and he drops down to third place. David Hauser up to second as the youngster Christopher Drayspring takes the lead for the first time. Battle for fourth with the blue Praga of Tim Gray going around the outside of Jean-Pierre LEQUEUX. Lightweight and excellent aero grip. And Tim Gray soon lining up a pass for third place, going by Luc de Kock into the first chicane. De Kock afterwards admitting that cars are already set up for the 24 hours of Zolder, so distinctly non-aggressive and a no-risk approach. Jean-Pierre LEQUEUX capitalising on that towards the end of lap one. Gets a good run down over the start-finish line, and through he goes into fourth place. 575 horsepower in the Ginetta, nearly 300 more than the Norma. Oliver Framut with the Renault RS01 behind, but soon forced to retire in the pit lane.
I don't know, after fourth lap or third lap I have an electrical problem, and so we have to stop the cars. Not possible to drive anymore.
Huge lock-up for Wim Uris, second in SR3 behind Koreuser. The How Racing TA2 right behind goes by, so does Christian Holtappels in the Ligier. But more trouble for our Super GT leaders. Damage a bumper out of Erste Linkse. Overall leader Christopher Drayspring up to speed, lapping as quickly as Kuba Schmakowski did in race one. Second overall David Hauser, not having to defend, unlike in race one. Can't catch the leader though. Third place and the CN class leader is Tim Gray in the Praga R1 Turbo. Finished its first race on Saturday after 4 DNFs in a row, and now close to the LMP3s in terms of speed. Sam de Jonge takes over from Luc de Kock in the pit stops. Couldn't hang on to second place because of their relaxed 24-hour of Zolder setting on the car. Having trouble restarting the car as well, losing at least half a minute in the pits. Nothing gained and a lot lost in the pit stops. David Hauser and racing experienced Luxembourg trying to make up time in the pit stops. Into Europol competition team, very experienced, run by Case Motorsport. Nothing gained in the pit lane then or on track, despite Hauser picking up the pace. He finishes second. Fastest lap goes to Christopher Drayspring and Kuba Schmakowski. They win the race and take the lead in the championship by a single point. Confirmation of the result. Schmakowski and Drayspring claim a second win. David Hauser in second. Tim Gray and Oliver Hewitt not only finish but win their class. And Koreuser also wins in his Praga R1. There's a familiar look to our podium.
Yeah, at the end of the weekend, the only thing I can say is we were just too slow this weekend. So congrats to Kees and Motorsport, who's done a good job this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, of course, every minute we have more with the Hankook tires, we learn more and more. We normally drive with the Michelin, so it's also a good lesson for us. And I think here was already much better than in Spa.
Jean-Pierre LEQUEUX and Jean-Marc Ubriken join them on the podium in LMP3 in third spot. Although Sam de Jonge managed to unlap himself, he never got close to the CN leaders Tim Gray and second driver Oliver Hewitt. Hopefully they've erased their bad luck. Their first race win and their second finish of the season.
Yeah, bit of a shock really. Tim did an amazing job in getting us a good lead, and I think it was just my case of managing the gap. They were holding a pit board out to me. The gap to the car behind me wasn't getting any smaller, so I know I was doing a relatively good job. Just tried to hold it together, and then just looking for the flag, you know, just managing the gap to about 50 seconds, I think, to the guy behind us. So I didn't want to try and overshoot myself and make a mistake, because spinning the car can cost you a minute. So very happy, very happy.
Veteran Koreuse may be new to the yellow and white Praga R1, but he was again in a league of his own, finishing a lap ahead of the field with Wim Juris in the Radical in second, Christian Holtappel's Ligier in third. And that rounds out all the action. Next time out for the GTN Prototype and Supercar Challenges powered by Hankook is the TT Circuit of Assen in early August in the Gamma Racing Days, and you can join us for all the action shortly afterwards. See you then. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero Race and Rally Base Layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine.